You just learned something scientifically proven, a piece of verifiable data presented clearly, and yet your immediate, visceral reaction isn't acceptance. It's resistance. It's a gut-level rejection. You feel more certain that the information you just heard is completely wrong. This isn't ignorance. It's a measurable psychological defense mechanism. It's called the backfire effect. What happens when objective truth meets deeply held personal belief? Sometimes the truth doesn't correct us. It reinforces our existing narrative, and sometimes it strengthens the belief we were trying to disprove in the first place. It's counterintuitive, but it's one of the most powerful and frustrating dynamics of the human mind. To understand this, we have to look past the facts and look at the architecture of belief itself. Beliefs aren't just files on a hard drive that can be overwritten by better data. They are deeply integrated parts of our self-concept. They are woven into our social networks, our sense of belonging, and our core identity. This leads us to the first critical point: emotional investment. When a belief becomes entangled with who we think we are, challenging that belief feels less like engaging in an intellectual debate and more like a personal assault. If accepting a new piece of data requires us to admit that a core assumption about our worldview, or worse, about ourselves, was flawed, the emotional cost is enormous. Our brains are wired for survival, and in this context, defending our perceived reality feels as vital as defending our physical safety. Therefore, the instinct isn't to seek accuracy, it's to maintain coherence. The belief becomes a psychological shield. This leads directly into the second mechanism: motivated reasoning. This isn't about being intentionally deceptive, although it can look that way. Motivated reasoning is a cognitive shortcut where we aren't processing information objectively. We are processing it through the lens of what we already want to be true. Our brains are incredibly energy-efficient machines, and updating an entire worldview is computationally expensive. It takes massive effort. It's easier, faster, and less tiring to slot new information into an existing framework, even if that slotting requires bending the new information until it fits the old belief. We aren't looking for the truth. We are looking for confirmation that our current model of the world is correct. And this sets the stage for the third, and most dramatic, phase: the backfire mechanism itself. When our cherished belief, the belief that helps us navigate our social world and maintain our sense of self, is directly and forcefully challenged, the system doesn't just gently resist. It overcompensates. It doesn't just say no, it screams no. The brain perceives the challenge not as an opportunity for refinement, but as an existential threat to the self. The defense mechanism kicks in, and instead of adjusting the belief, the conviction surrounding the original, flawed belief actually increases. We double down. We become more certain, not less, precisely because we were shown a gap in our understanding. So, how do you navigate this without sounding like you're just attacking someone's intelligence? Because fact-bombing, throwing a barrage of undeniable statistics, is almost guaranteed to trigger the defensive cycle and make the person dig their heels in deeper. You have to change the battlefield. You have to bypass the cognitive firewall and address the emotional core. This is where the fourth and most crucial strategy comes in: focus on shared values rather than factual corrections. If you know the person's identity is tied to belief X, don't fight belief X with fact Y. Instead, identify the underlying value that both belief X and the desired reality share. Maybe the shared value is safety, or fairness, or community stability. Instead of saying, "Your understanding of climate change is wrong because of this graph," try framing it around the shared value. We both want our children to have a stable future. How do we best achieve that stability? This reframing allows the other person to feel heard on a fundamental, emotional level, even if you are disagreeing on the details. Understanding the backfire effect changes how you argue, how you listen, and frankly, how you view the information landscape. It teaches you that sometimes the most rational response to a piece of evidence is not to argue the evidence itself, but to understand the structure of the belief that evidence is challenging. So, the next time you find yourself in a conversation where a fact triggers an unusually strong, disproportionate level of defensiveness, the kind that makes you think, wait, are they sure about this? I want you to pause, take a breath. Don't immediately launch your counter-argument. Instead, ask yourself a single, critical question. Is this a disagreement about facts, or is it an identity threat? Because the answer to that question tells you everything you need to know about how to proceed.